Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, if you wanna jam.
There is a racist on the corner of Union and Everding, and I give him the finger. I see him almost every day. He has friends. I've seen them. He owns a roofing company with employees, and I wonder if any of them have ever seen the obvious Confederate flag with swastikas in the center that hangs on his living room wall. You can see this flag through the front window of his house, displayed as prominently as any family photo. There's a racist on the corner of Union and Everding, and he's an Indianapolis Colts fan and has a Colts fan parking only sign hanging on the side of his house. I've seen him in a blue and white Colts hat, and I hate the color blue more because of him. I hate the Colts more because of him. I hate the NFL, of course, more because of him. There's a racist on the corner of Union and Everding, and there's nothing I can do about it. I've given him 1,000 middle fingers that have turned to smiles on his face in the construction of a fence that I hope will be high enough to block the sight of the flag and the racist from daily vision, less intrusive. And isn't that the definition of my liberal whiteness? Keep it out of sight. Less prominent in my life, the option to ignore it. The option to look the other way, to look straight ahead, to ignore him. There's a racist on the corner of Union and Everding, and my Jewish blood mocks me. Howl's sarcastic laughter in my brain calls me ash, coward, briquette. The willing dead says, do something about it, like I could. Like I haven't already thought about the empty street after 10 p.m., how quiet the neighborhood is, how the cross street behind his house is mostly occupied by businesses that are empty after 6 p.m., how they do have cameras, though. Like I haven't already thought about the gas station on the next block over, like I haven't already thought about how quickly fire spreads, like how quickly fire spreads as fast as hate, like I haven't already thought about my children, his dog, my dog, about my kids, my grandbaby, about getting caught, about going back to jail, about the work I've done, about the work I could do, about my wife. There's a racist on the corner of Union and Everding, and I want to ask him if he teaches his children this hate. I wonder if he knows that the Indianapolis Colts have had like several black quarterbacks. I want to ask him why he has the flag, what happened to him to make him feel this way. I want to tell him that none of it excuses his disgusting display, that he's wrong, that he's generalizing, that his time is over. I want to tell him that he can't block out the world with a fence, that he just doesn't understand, that he should die. I want to tell him that he should die, that people like him should die off, that he's a piece of crap. I want to tell him, you don't belong here. Get out of my neighborhood, get out of my city, get out of my country, my country. There's a racist on the corner of Union and Everding, and I'm a hypocrite for telling him to get out, to die off, for hating him, for being so angry, for saying he doesn't belong in my city or country. There's a racist on the corner of Union and Everding, and I give him the finger. I don't know what else to do. I've walked most of my life. Across cities, states, entire countries. I've seen several horizons, walked toward them as often as possible, and now it hurts to walk to the bathroom. Not the soreness that society has thrust upon all of us, the type that makes me weigh out actually just how bad I have to go to the bathroom, or if piss in the bed is only bad because the same society says so, or maybe it's just how mad my partner would be. I don't know. My back was broken twice. I have no cartilage in my neck, and the doctors say it can only be fixed by fusion surgeries and a halo brace with screws into my skull to keep it in place. A small chance I could be paralyzed or die. A halo no matter the outcome. I'm afraid of these surgeries. I've never been angelic, and these demons in my spine at least hold me upright. I can't see myself in a halo, no matter the outcome. My moments stay stilted in pins, needles, knives, and grindstones. Each movement of my neck drags bones across each other with nothing in between. I smile and pretend that pain is normal. It is my normal. Every step coated in pain or painkillers. In my younger days, I chased sunsets like dreams and fell short every time. The horizon is a silly thing to chase. It's always going to be faster than you can move. I focused on the movement, let my spine demons run wild, did more horrible things than I can count. These days are long, though now my demons are kept at bay by an angel, effortlessly surrounded by sanctity. I can't see myself in a halo, no matter the outcome. The pain of these wrongs strips cartilage from my skeleton until these bones crush themselves against the weight of all my sins. This swollen skeleton is more than a fractured framework, a busted tent pole, a broken drivetrain, a snapped serpentine belt, a defective dorsal, collapsed core, a screwed up back. There's less poetry in physical pain than in emotional pain. Less romance in broken bones than in broken hearts. Leaves muses stunted with inkless pens and heavy hands. Muses who misuse their gifts, who break poems like bones. Useless muses who no longer appreciate wordplay, who regress in their skill, and who have me end every poem I write lately with the word home. A body in pain is not poetic, not a metaphor. Too brutal to be beautiful is no thunderstorm, no rain causes me to collapse. This is lightning striking my spinal column if I move incorrectly. Too afraid of white dragons to chase away the pain accurately, too loved and supported to complain too much. I physically haven't been comfortable in 30 years. Days pass, more painful than the last every day. There's no pretty way to say I'm in a lot of pain right now. All analogies are as useless as my dissolving disc's blurred vision used to be a goal. Now it is a constant nagging banshee who shakes my spine like dice. Painkillers don't kill pain. They tease pain until it pisses pain off enough to kick my ass and send a torrent of itself down my split spinal cord into riven legs, send a torrent of itself down my split soul. It never goes down. Gas price pain changes each day, never free. My tank is nearly empty. Maybe, hopefully, it will be enough to get me back to my wife. Maybe, hopefully, it will be enough to get me back home. I wasn't afraid to die until I was 40 years old. I wasn't afraid that my dad would die until I was 4 years old. I may have been afraid of my dad dying before then, but I don't remember it. The only person I looked up to as a kid who isn't dead is my dad. Now, I'm afraid every time the phone rings. My dad is the same age as Basquiat was. I hated my dad for not being an artist. My dad always wanted to be a truck driver, and he still is. Growing up, we lived out in the country just down the road from the county dump, less than a mile away. You could smell the rich people's trash at our house, especially in the rain, though you pretended not to be polite. We were too poor, too white trash to afford the fees for trash service. We burned our trash in 50-gallon drums out back of the barn. We warmed our hands while we tried to avoid the toxic smoke. I always wanted to be a poet. The shine of my legacy drips slow, soft across micless and stageless stage. Eyes only cut out to see soul. The brain beat itself against the inside of my skull until my sight spun and rolled back to the room underfoot and feet. The choked children are a hard cliche. The rain comes quickly as a house fly or house fire. All the lovely, the angry, the dichotomies rush past. I do nothing except hide outside the chapel, and I smoke. Then I pass out words like apple seeds, burn notebooks like bridges. I'm always burning something, trash, notebooks, bridges, like my skin is loose as lava. My pores pour tears that feel like blood, and I wish it was sometimes. I wish it was. I wish it was the volcano that is my heart would grow into more than the gravestone, waiting to be molded, waiting for its graveyard, waiting to be cooled in the rain, waiting to burn, waiting for the lovely embrace of fire, waiting to smoke. Wood grows until it burns, is growing right now, actively grows like mold, like cotton smolder and shrink in smoke, a flower already picked, a matter of time before we wilt, wilted, wilting. I try to fight the decomposition, though too green to burn, I watch it smoke. The burn of cough makes me forget how to spell. I stumble over my pen again. I fight the fallen pages and lose myself inside an active thought that rumbles past the fire of passion faster than life, close enough to smell the smoke. I once looked for a copy of a book for 20 years. I found it in San Francisco in the rain, wrapped it in my backpack, took it to the top of Coit Tower and called my dad. I told him how long I had looked for these poems. He said, "That's good, son." And not a damn thing more. It stopped raining. I thought about how one person's treasure is someone else's afterthought. I go outside into the cool air, roll a joint, and I smoke. The rain dries, and I smoke. That's the only thing this poem has said, just in a few different ways. I wrote it from my father. He is oak and fire, and I smoke pop. My poems and lungs are filled with all that you have and have not been. I am all try to be better than you for you in every single scene you haven't seen. It hasn't been much, though it's been more than I can believe. I smoke because of you. I write because of you. Everywhere I go will because you won't. I hope you see something beautiful with these eyes. When I burn out, when I spread across the clouds, I hope it makes you proud. I know I never meant to, but I know I let you down. They will remember us more than the melted ghosts we were when we go out, when they burn us up, Pop. I hope, I hope we smoke.
At any point in life, have you ever felt like people looked at you and saw the word welcome as they walked on you and over you, and your reaction or lack of one seemed to welcome continuous ingratitude and mistreatment? This welcome mat experience deserves commiseration and acknowledgement, a warm welcome. Welcome to Robert Hayden Winter Sundays. Welcome to Blue Black Cold. Welcome to Puerto Rican tiaras checking behind ears for colorism. Welcome to the gang that lives net earnings to net earnings with no safety net, that give a pint of blood to make an end meet. Welcome to the United Nations of Blood Donation, giving blood to Pyru Bloods, Rolling 60s Crips, Gangster Disciples, and the descendants of Jesus' disciples. Welcome to All Sales Final, no takebacks, buy as is, to retail therapy, to ghetto Walmart, to where asking the cashier, "Can I speak to the manager?" is fighting words. Welcome to Crazy as Hell, loose screws, pay dues, in the trenches, get it from the mud, burn down your child's Barbie dream house for the insurance money. Welcome to Twerk on Saturdays, sing in the choir on Sundays, work on the plantation Monday through Friday. Welcome to where God knows your heart. Welcome to the quest. Welcome to Iron Sharpens Wrinkles. Welcome to the wormhole, the black hole, the hole in one, the place where all complexions melt together and become one. Welcome to poverty. Welcome to below the poverty line. Welcome to pain. Welcome to bring the pain. Welcome to the method, to the man, to the clan. Welcome. From one welcome mat to another. Welcome.
A safe place to meet, a soul tie. A paper is never just something to crumple up or discard. It's never just drawing or writing. It's always a story of life and death. When I see a barren tree, The bones in my fingers turn to whining dogs, salivating at the mouth. The biome in my gut starts to howl. Salvation is but a pencil away. I'm a loose leaf sinking trees with a trick up my sleeve and no plans to fall. Living on in the loose leaves. Have people graffiti my body with their pain and call it emergency room or therapy. Doctors and nurses and surgeons who stitch the wounds, killing us from the inside. It's never just a blank document lying on a desk. Sometimes it's a battlefield between lead and rubber, between thoughts rushing to their first breath and erasers bloodthirsty for a taste of dream. Scribe. Every night my name is Jacob, wrestling doubt into a full Nelson, and it is always a draw, which is to say I find Genesis in my pencils, a maternity ward between these fingers, a morgue between these white sheets. It's never just a notebook or a pen. It's always church. The first time I believed in God is when I held a pencil, held mass in my sketchbook, a congregation of thought. I like to draw pictures 1,000 words at a time. I write the type of poems that bodies search for life in, poems that can only be read on an empty stomach. There's a kitchen in my diary, a pen in my pantry, and somehow I am always starving. These termite hands always in search for timber. I'm a glutton for trees, so when it comes to paper and pen, it's never just writing. It's always an elevated experience, a chasing the dragon kind of high, smoke-filled lungs, slave to hallucinations, sifting through what's real and what's trauma, trying to fit a century in a pocketbook or a Post-it note. Be it a napkin doing CPR or a keyboard as a lifeboat, a paper is never just something to discard. It is always a story of life and death, a safe place to meet, a soul tie.
All right, America, it's sock it to me time. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, America. What is your moral compass? Where do you truly stand? Are you really going to allow Wish.com Hitler, that diabolical floater and Satan shitter, another chance at a seat of the throne in his kingdom of lies and fake news? Meanwhile, Fox News spews hues of fascism, and all of a sudden, it's deemed trendy to be a fascist. It's hip to be a racist and a rapist. It's acceptable to have been convicted 34 times and still deemed viable for a presidency. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, America. Do you get off at belittling minorities? Is it a guilty pleasure you just can't get rid of? Is it a kink that you just can't quit? I kink shame you, America. Me and the millions and millions who have had to experience life being considered less than white. It must be wild to have the complexion for their protection and for the collection. Fuck you for calling my homeland a floating island of garbage. Fuck you for cheering and laughing. Fuck you for thinking that throwing paper towels into a crowd of desperate people would solve any issue. Fuck you for making help difficult to access after Hurricane Maria devastated a powerless island. Fuck you for everything you stand for. Fuck you for constantly misleading so many people. Fuck you for ending so many friendships. Fuck you for giving more rights to guns than women. Fuck you for the fraying mental health of an entire nation. Fuck you for grabbing America by the pussy. Fuck you for mistaking Donald Trump for a god. And fuck anyone who tries to tell you that white privilege doesn't exist. So sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, America. Never mind. You're showing the world your true face now.
He wants to rape the museums the same way he raped those children. Make artifacts disappear like the immigrants, like that list his name is all over, and that guy he never hung out with, that girlfriend who was convicted of sex trafficking no one. He wants to force a dictatorship on us the same way he forces himself on women and children. like 13-year-old Katie Johnson in that Manhattan apartment. He wants the FBI agents to scrub the museums of his ancestors' crimes, the way they scrubbed that list, and the treason committed January 6th, the way they scrub color from neighborhoods. He wants to screw us the same way he would his daughter, the same way he does his victims, small businesses, contractors, people of color, and children. He just takes what he wants, like he did those children's innocence in that penthouse apartment, like the government did Freedman Towns, like he did our health care, children's free lunch, our First Amendment rights. He wants to have his way with the Constitution, like Jean Carroll in the dressing room of Bergdorf and Goodman, treated like that child he threw money at for an abortion, like that porn star he paid to keep quiet, like our representatives, like justice, like peace, like his friends with private planes and private islands who rape children. But museums are the problem.
Jesus cussed too. At least once in a lifetime, a tongue will take on a life of its own and speak from the heart, a tandem in the HOV lane, bypassing the brain. You can flip your way out of a communist regime or into being the first woman on a box of Wheaties, but no one gets to be a champion of breakfast or a sex worker who quit the Internal Revenue Service to take up a more honorable profession. No one gets to do that. You can't flip out over a woman with an issue of tax on pads and tampons without a slip of the 7 deadly words you can never say on television. I will go on any TV talk show and share my unpopular opinion and quote scripture to back it up. I said what I said. Book of Isaiah 55:11, the New Amplified Urban Standard Version. On this Golgotha, I am willing to die. For as long as I live, I'm a believer like the donkey in Shrek. This is definitely true. Jesus cussed 2 or 3 times at least. You motherfuckers bringing this billionaire bullshit into my father's house? Y'all got me and the rest of the Trinity all the way fucked up. Up in that temple, defiled by greed, tables got flipped, which is different from turning. A turn can be graceful like a Romanian gymnast. A flip is more profane, like a bird pooping with premeditation. Speculating about the Messiah or whether Mary was able to give consent due to imbalance of power will get you in deep shit. There's something about wrestlers and folding chairs and foster kids and tables. I flipped my first table at the age of Jesus. When he said, "Did you know that I must be in my father's house?" It was for my own protection. A jerk off from juvie found out WWJD to be more than call letters, more than WKRP. I did more than what Cincinnati would do, more than what Russell Crowe would do in foster care. I had to do as Jesus did. I flipped tables. It was the only way I could get people to stop fucking with me. And this is why I believe Jesus cussed too, because you can't flip a table without cussing. Flipping tables and cussing go together like pink ribbons and cancer. When it comes to divinity, all things are possible with God. But I do not believe one can flip a table without cussing.
Stampedes of crazed adults trampling children, storming shells in the fashion of Allied forces storming Normandy Beach. Grown-ass adults investing their life savings into purchasing the rarest of their kind, only to lose almost all of their value of their collection. A New Hampshire couple thought they hatched a dope idea by forging checks to purchase and sell them for a profit, only to purchase heroin. I kid you not, now flooding donation bins, Goodwill and Savers locations nationwide, In the closets of unfortunate heirs of a less fortune, Beanie Babies were the bitcoins of the 1990s. These little lip sacks of understuffed animals now face a more grim future, being the filling of beanbag chairs, as their owners have developed a fetish of sitting on the carcasses of their friends, mainly as a way to achieve a cheap dopamine rush by exacting revenge on their failed investments of hopes and dreams through imprisonment, utter dominance, and occasional gas torture by way of flatulence. In a movement as bizarre as the movement that birthed it, the kink is known by many different names, pending on region. Beanie Baby chambering has taken a North American furry communities by storm in a similar fashion that Queenie babying was popularized by the royal family. Beanie Baby Kinkaroo has shook Japan's kink world to its core, to the point that cyberpunk cinema is experiencing a renaissance. The ripples of influence even stretch out throughout India as new positions were included in a revised edition of the Kama Sutra, named after some of the most popular Beanie Babies, with Squealer the Pig voted #1 in Cosmopolitan India's list of hottest positions to do with your partner this summer. It doesn't matter what you call it. At the end of the day, it is a young that will be yucked a lot more than toes getting sucked in an ever so evolving case study that is worth exploring, preferably from a distance.
If the sky was less red, I would probably want to see less of it. The skin of the clouds is thin enough to cut with human skin and bone. I am skin and bone, as I assume you are, and our differences are mold that spreads in the mist of dust, a hollow sound rolled slow across the otherwise silent canyon. Not a natural noise, more of a growl than a howl or roar, a rumble in the back of my brain as real as a ghost. My glasses smudge as easily as my skin. That is not a kind statement about myself. I have never been as kind to myself as the metaphors I write have been to me. I make myself cry similes in hopes they might tug others' heartstrings enough to make them feel something, which often makes them cry. I feel a strange twitch of pride, as though making someone else feel my pain is a positive thing. I will cry for you, and I expect the same in return. I do not expect to be asked to return. I often miss the point of being told that I am loved or missed or wanted. That is because I lack the ability to understand emotional nuance at times. This is because I have no emotional nuance. Ever, only emotions that smear across my thoughts until my thoughts are a smudged glass I cannot see through. I am often alone and driving, and I shut off the radio and I listen to the hollow hum of the tires and the wub 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 of the skittering of the things that scatter by the brush of the vehicle. I realize the food I consume is killing me, though I am too hungry not to die. So I eat a lonely meal inches from a purple-tinged ghost that leaps from a quaking body. The light flickers soft as a featherbed. Languages I wish I spoke tumble from my lips. Blood on these hands, no shadow at these feet, deep dust on these knuckles. This car is hair stuck to a thick scab. The stirred breeze knocks me off course. Most things knock me off course. In the rain, I walked to a diner. In the rain, I found ease inside the smoke that drifted on the skyline, became cloud. The headline the next morning said nothing of the dead, only the injured, the survivors, those who would be scarred forever and anxious. My scars and anxiety have never been front page news, thankfully. It isn't that I am a bad person. It is that I was born a bad person, and I worry that things like that may be permanent. My well intended actions will burn and corrupt like a worm on the sidewalk. When the wind blows 2 tons of steel, aluminum, plastic, and other bits off the road, you must breathe through the rumble strip, laugh at how the road affects you. Be at peace with the prospect of death at every 6% grade hairpin curve switchback down a mountain. Laugh at these things. Writers don't die in cars. Writers die at their writing desks, often by their own hand, given my writing style and racial makeup, most likely by shotgun, by my own hand. At my writing desk. I was recently gifted a writing desk. It is my first real writing desk. Amongst the first lines I wrote at this writing desk was about writers shooting themselves at their writing desk. My writing desk and I are off to a great fucking start. I am not a well-oiled machine. I leak from busted seals. I'm cold in the morning. I do not trust my blood to keep me alive. It leaks too easily. My life has been a series of moments where I try to stay warm enough not to die. I am just enough, good enough at this to not die. My body seems broken. When I think of broken, I think of people. When things get broken, broken people get calm. I break calm, shatter loud. I am where the break happens. I am told that I bounce my face off of floors, not as a hobby, as my body's reaction as it points out its own flaws in an inconvenient way. Unbroken people do not break softly. They run wild when the horizon shifts feet, when the sky cracks, when the two paths intersect in limited space. My car wheels shook under me like my body shook under me during a seizure on a Seattle city bus. What I mean is the truck shook violently, seemed afraid of its own muddy bones, held hands with an invisible purple twisting monster, became a thin blooded, fuzzy worm in the dirt. Less than that, a salted slug trying as slowly as it can to melt, cook its own skin, become ghosts, lie, lie after lie, like it didn't know it was dying. The car was out of gas, was tired, wanted to stop. I wish I could stop. I'm tired. The ugly moment presented itself, and I think of Pittsburgh again. How I used to think the hills around the city were mountains, how they used to be taller or I shorter, how mountains are bigger when you are walking, shrink to minor inconvenience in vehicles, or maybe Pittsburgh is falling into those damn rivers one ketchup-soaked inch at a time, or maybe my perception of time and space and size has been permanently altered by the altar closer to the God on the Pacific coast. The East has people. The West has everything else. Everything else may kill you, but the people slowly suck the life from you. I once saw an older couple walk through the airport, arm in arm, bags dragged behind, she pulling forward ahead of him, he with a cane to help him hobble several steps behind her. Now she said, "Hurry up." He said, "I will try. I am trying." She said again, this time angrily, "Won't you hurry up?" I think she was asking him to die. I chase sunsets and ghosts, things that are dead or will be soon.